There's a moment every parent knows. Your toddler is sitting on the floor, completely locked in on something that looks from where you're standing like absolutely nothing. Banging a spoon on a bowl, dropping a block into a cup and pulling it back out. Pouring water from one container into another until the floor is soaked, and they couldn't be more pleased with themselves. You see mess, their brain sees a laboratory. Most parenting advice skips this part entirely. The link between sensory play, the touching, pouring, stacking, squishing, sorting, and real problem-solving ability isn't a soft correlation. It's direct. It's biological. And it happens during a window of brain development that closes faster than most parents expect. Here's what's going on underneath all that mess. Between 1 and 3 years old, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles planning, decisions, and working through problems, is in its fastest growth period outside of infancy. Neural pathways are forming and pruning based on what the child is actually experiencing day to day. And the experiences that produce the most complex neural growth aren't screens or flashcards or structured lessons. They're sensory. When a toddler touches something they didn't expect, a texture that surprises them, a weight that's heavier than it looks, a shape that won't go where they wanted it to, the brain lights up across multiple regions at once. Sensory cortex, motor cortex, hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, all of them firing together. That cross-region activation is what builds the neural infrastructure for problem solving. The brain is learning to pull information from different places and use it to change what it does next. Put simply, your toddler isn't just playing. They're building the mental machinery they'll use to solve problems for the rest of their life. The 3 games below cost nothing. No kits, no toys, no subscriptions. What they need is time, your presence, and a tolerance for wet floors. Game 1, the mystery bag. Grab a pillowcase or any fabric bag. Drop in 5 to 8 small objects from around the house. A wooden spoon, a smooth stone, a sponge, a small plastic bottle, a pine cone, a scrap of fabric. Anything with a distinct texture, shape, or weight. Don't show your toddler what went in. Let them reach in. The point, and this matters, is that they try to figure out what they're holding before they pull it out. Not name it, just feel it. Hard or soft, heavy or light, does it have bumps? Is it smooth on one side and rough on another? What looks like a guessing game is actually a serious cognitive workout. The brain is working from touch alone, with no visual input, to build an internal picture of something it can't see. Researchers call this mental representation, and it sits at the foundation of abstract problem solving. A child who can hold a mental model of something not directly in front of them can start thinking through problems before acting on them. That's planning. That's what the prefrontal cortex is supposed to do. When they pull the object out and find out whether they were right, that feedback loop is the brain running through exactly the sequence that problem solving requires. Hypothesis, test, result, adjust. As they get better, make it harder. 2 things that both feel smooth but are different shapes. 2 things that are both hard but different weights. The brain has to sharpen its discrimination. That sharpening is what growth looks like. Game 2, water and containers. This one looks almost too simple to matter. Fill a bin or low tray with a few inches of water. Set out 4 or 5 containers of different sizes, a small cup, a medium cup, a large bowl, a narrow bottle, a wide, shallow dish. Then step back and let them pour. No instructions, no demonstration unless they're genuinely stuck. Just materials and time. Watch closely and you'll see a child running experiments. They'll fill the large bowl and try to pour it into the small cup. It overflows, they notice, they adjust, they try the medium cup, better. They figure out that the narrow bottle fills slowly and empties fast. They discover the shallow dish holds far less than it looks like it should. Each of those moments is a problem-solving event. The brain is building what researchers call intuitive physics, a felt sense of how the world actually behaves, which can't be taught from a book and has to be discovered through hands-on experience. Intuitive physics is what underlies spatial reasoning, engineering instinct, and the kind of real-world thinking that rote learning can't touch. There's something else worth noticing, too. Toddlers will do water play for 40 minutes without stopping. That's not boredom, that's mastery drive. The brain is inherently motivated to repeat experiences that build competence. That internal drive is something worth protecting. When a child is this absorbed in self-directed play, they're practicing focus, sustained attention, and persisting through small failures. These are the same qualities that show up in problem-solving everywhere for the rest of their life. Don't rush them out of it. The length of the absorption is the point. Game 3, the posting box. Take a shoebox with a lid. Cut different shaped holes into the lid: a circle, a square, a long rectangle, a small triangle. Collect objects that will fit through some holes but not others. Wooden blocks, toilet paper rolls, small bottles, balls of different sizes. Hand it to your toddler and step back. You don't need to explain anything. Something about a hole and an object nearby immediately activates the problem-solving instinct. They'll start trying things. Most won't work on the first attempt. The block doesn't fit the circle. The ball doesn't go through the rectangle. The toilet paper roll fits if you turn it sideways but not straight on. From the outside, it looks like trial and error. Neurologically, something more interesting is happening. After enough failed attempts, you'll see a shift. The toddler slows down. They look at the object, look at the hole, look back at the object. They're holding both shapes in mind at the same time and comparing them before they act. That pause is prefrontal cortex activity made visible. They've moved from just trying things to something closer to thinking first. That transition from act first to think first is one of the most significant cognitive shifts of the toddler years. Sensory problem-solving play is one of the most consistent ways to push it forward. Rotate the objects. Add new holes. Throw in something that looks like it should fit but doesn't. The brain grows at the edge of what it can currently do, problems that push slightly past comfortable but not so far that they only produce frustration. One last thing about all three of these. Your presence matters more than what you do in it. There's a real difference between sitting nearby, calm, available, paying attention, and hovering over them, correcting, narrating every step. Toddlers doing sensory play need to own the problem. If you tell them what to try next, you've taken the problem away. If you fix the spill before they notice it, you've removed the discovery. If you name every object before they've had a chance to feel it themselves, you've replaced their experience with your explanation. Your job is to be a secure base, close enough that they feel safe to explore, quiet enough that the exploring stays theirs. The research is clear on this. Children whose caregivers allow extended, uninterrupted self-directed sensory play show stronger executive function, better working memory, and more persistent problem-solving than children whose play gets frequently redirected or managed. The games are simple. Your presence in them doesn't need to be complicated. Find a bin, fill it with water, sit down, and let the laboratory run.